Welcome, friends! Today, we're going to be taking a look at whether or not you should play Lineage 2 in 2020. Stay tuned for my assessment. It may or may not be good or bad. Who knows? Character creation. Click on, when you log in for the first time, you'll take a look at the character creation screen, or character selection screen rather. But when you create a new character, you click, if you haven't had one already, just click the create button. And it gives you a bunch of options. You can choose from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different races. 4, 5, 6, 7. Humans. And it's all personal preference. I suggest that you choose a class that you like. So click on the class and take a look at what you're looking for. There's elves, and there's usually a fighter type of person or a mage type of person in any one of these types of paths. And then they have multiple paths depending on if you're using one or the other. You have a knight type of character or a ranger, rogue type of character, and then you have a wizard type of character, but then it has like a attacking mage type of character and a healer type of character. There's a few different things that you can look at. You have humans, elves, dark elves, orcs, dwarfs, camels, and etheria, which is pretty cool. So there's a bunch of different things. There are a few of them that are gender locked. Actually, Etheria is the only one. But you can choose between male or female based on all of the other ones. We are going to, for this sake of this, we're going to make an orc, and we want to make ourselves a dominator. So we're going to click on Orc Mystic. That's what we want. We have a few options in the character creation screen. You have 3 different faces to choose from. It doesn't look like you can zoom in. You used to be able to zoom in before, but they've taken that out of the game, apparently. But I think we will go with that one. That one looks cool. You have a couple of different hairstyles. I'm going to go with the bald dude. And then you have a couple different hair colors, and we'll go with white. That looks cool. And let's see, you choose a name. Clobber. Let's do Clobber. Will it work? Is there already a Clobber? There's already a Clobber. Let's do Clobber. Name already exists. Clobberstomp. Let's try that. Available name. All right. Great. Would you like to generate this new character now? Yes. There you go. That's pretty much character creation in a nutshell. Combat. So, farming has changed a lot in Lineage 2. A lot of it has turned into auto hunting. Now, you still have the ability to play live if you want. The combat is pretty cool. You have different various things. You have a whole bunch of skills that you can choose from. A bunch of actives, a bunch of different passives, and a lot of things get added to your bar. Now, your hot bars, you have 4 hot bars with a 5th. They've broken out this 5th to set up for a bunch of auto farming skills. You can right-click to turn them on. You can turn them off and do that sort of thing. A lot of the game now has turned into auto farming while you're away, and the combat, at least from the PvE standpoint, is all based on macros. So you kind of set it and forget it type of deal. So you set up a macro and you do some skills and you follow some things. There's a bunch of different ones that you can set up. There's all kinds of things that you can do. It's kind of interesting. So some of the game now is kind of tweaking your macro to stay alive wherever you're leveling, which is kind of interesting to think about, but it does work. Now, in PvP, there are different things you can do. You can set up all of your skills, your PvP skills, out on your bar, and you can use your F keys your function keys, or you can map these to whatever keys you'd like in the options, and you can play against another player. So if I wanted to go PvP these people, I could go do that if I wanted to. And then I would just play live and hit the buttons. You can also point and click. It also gives you a point and click to walk around. There's no WASD. However, there are options in the menu to turn that on. But Lineage 2 was built as a point and click game. Kind of like anything, you can click on the players. There's commands you can run to target. Obviously, that's why you run all of these commands. It's very, very interesting. But the combat overall is old school. It's point and click type with clicking on the buttons as you need them and turning on and off skills as you need them by right clicking or left clicking, and then also using your function keys to do the damage that you need to do. Overall, the combat is not as well thought out as some of the newest release of games like Black Desert Online or Guild Wars 2. That's more of an action-based combat type of system, and this is pretty much tab targeting type of deal. Also, along the lines of PvP and combat, the matches usually go pretty quick, being that the game has a fair amount of pay to win in it and a very well thought out L2 store for purchasing, buying and selling items on the market for real life money out onto the market through Ncoin. There are a number of players that are very high level that can walk around and pretty much one-shot anybody. So just be aware that open world, the entire area, everywhere outside of a town is PvP. So something to think about. So if somebody wanted to, they could come kill me right now and they would go red. But that is part of the deal when you level. So be aware of that. It is open world PvP, and there's a fair number of other things like Castle Siege and also Olympiad, where you fight one-on-one and those types of things. Storyline and lore.
Not bad, kid. Are you all right? Can you hear me?
So there we go. That is the opening scene from when you start a brand new character to now. There is a fair amount of lore. However, the recent parts of the game, the recent updates really haven't dove further and further into the lore. A lot of the lore is from the old school versions of the game. I know there are some storylines, but to me, as a whole, the storyline and the lore in the recent versions is kind of lacking. There are websites out there that have some of the items out there, but trying to find it in-game is difficult. You can talk to some of the NPCs, and some of them do have things to do, and you can read through some of this stuff, but it really kind of just talks about how to get you through the game, and the game really kind of progresses you from level 1 to the furthest that you can go, which is 105 right away, as quickly as possible. It does take a fair amount of time, but within a week or two you could probably get from 0 to 105. The level cap is much higher, but in the recent versions of the game, in the current version of the game, the lore and the storyline, in my opinion, is pretty lacking. So it's a huge thumbs down for the storyline. Now, if you want to go back and read all of the storyline from the earlier days when the game released, there's a fair amount that's there, and that lore and storyline is very, very good. And a lot of it still kind of pertains to today as it kind of moved forward, but there's been many things that have changed and such like that, but it's not really all that well thought out. I think it's kind of slapped together last minute, and I feel like they just kind of put some stuff out there as quickly as possible so that when they do new updates, they have at least a little bit of substance to it, but it's really not all that much. The world. Lineage 2 is a huge map. It's been a huge map for a very long time, and it's only gotten bigger and bigger as it's grown over the last 15, 16 years. So, there are many castles, there are many different locations to play, and the map is pretty fun to explore. So if you're the exploring type of person, you can most certainly walk around the map and do that. However, they have teleporting pretty much everywhere that costs money. Yeah, I know, it costs money to teleport. Kind of wonky, but every place is broken up into a couple of different places, and you can get to pretty much any place on the map. Instead of by running, you can go through by going to and just double clicking the instance and going to where you want to go. I'm old school. I personally like getting and learning about the new places. However, with the addition of the newest, latest versions of the game, there are a lot of games or a lot of areas that are no longer really all that useful. For instance, we're in Dion, and this used to be a level 20 to 30 leveling area, and if we look at Dion, we have Tanner Canyon, but these other places are useless. You wonder why they're useless. Well, part of the issue is that you get to level 23 in like 5 minutes, and you get past all these places, so these are kind of useless until NCSoft decides to change where they're going. So a lot of the map, though it is huge, you're kind of limited by the zones that you level in, and some of the common zones are Gludio, everywhere around Gludio, Desert Quarry, Magic Circle, Phantasmal Ridge, Hellbound. These are some places. And then there's some places near Aiden, Seal of Shylen, the Cemetery, Blazing Swamp, and some of these places are actually kind of rendered useless. So Disciples Necropolis and Tower of Insolence, though they're 105, you know, these places aren't all that lucrative to be leveling at because either the XP is really bad or the, you know, the Adena is really horrible. The money in the game that you get from drops is not worth your time. Silent Valley is pretty much used, but there's kind of a path that you follow, and I'm not going to show the path here, but you know, there's a kind of a natural progression. Once you get to 85 or to 100, you kind of go through Desert Quarry and you go through those areas. You spend a lot of time in Blazing Swamp at 99 up to like 103. Once you get into 103 to 105, you spend time in where is it? Enchanted Valley. Enchanted Valley is a 103 area. All these places used to be different levels in earlier versions of the game, but it's really kind of changed, and you kind of just follow the one path that everybody else does, and you're kind of limited on the places that you can go and level. There's not like 5 or 6 places you can go at level 103. You're kind of stuck to a couple places. It's this place and all the places that you were at below. Typically, the best leveling places are a couple levels below, so I've actually been leveling in Blazing Swamp at 103, even though it's a 99 area, because I can kill so much faster. So that's quite common. You'll level in an area that's really far behind where you're at. Dungeons and instances. There is a fair amount, probably less than in most games, of instance zones. Now, there's a few different types of scenarios. You have solo instance zones, so you have Karina, and you can do beginner, intermediate, or advanced. I haven't done these yet, but you can get some decent prizes in there. You have a partied instance zone, so you can go in with and fight Balar or Nightmare Kamaloka, or you can fight the Shadow Revolutionaries. Very cool stuff to do in a party. And then you have Alliance Instance Zone Manager, and this is a new one. I believe you need to be, okay, so all party members must be 107 or higher, and only the leader of an Alliance channel that has 21 members or more, and at least 35 members can go in, and you can fight. These are raid bosses type, so Tauti, Frinteza, and Octavius. These are big boss battles. They're a lot of fun to do. Unfortunately, I don't have any material for it to show it off yet. I could probably do one, but I don't want to lose whatever I'm going to lose and die just for the sake of showing it in the video. But It's kind of neat to do. I don't know how many people are doing them. I personally don't do them all that much, but there are people that do them, and you do need passes to get in. Some people sell extra passes to get into them for a fee. And I don't know that the passes are worth it. I think some of the new zones are better than the others, but some of the older zones are not so much. But there are some other zones that are kind of neat. You have special, they call these special hunting zones. And these special hunting zones are, these are set for timed instances where you can go farm in them, but they're extremely difficult. So you have to be well geared to get into them. Abandoned coal mines and Storm Isle are very difficult, but you can add more passes, so you can actually go into them for about 6 hours and run your auto hunting, which is kind of neat. So they've kind of split it up a little bit. It helps you gain and get a little bit more Adina and XP in these types of zones. They're really nice to do, and they're actually PvP is unavailable in them except for the big one, the Isle of Souls, but you need to be 107 plus for that. Overall, the dungeons and the instances are okay. They're not my favorite, but these special hunting zones are really, really lucrative, at least when it comes to gathering money. Crafting. So, as it goes, Lineage 2 also has crafting mechanisms in it. However, I don't have a dwarf that actually has the ability to craft anything. However, you pretty much need to be like top level at the end. The only class that can craft the highest level equipment is a tier maestro, dwarven class. Now, everybody can craft most of the items from R99 and below, which is some of the there's different grades and levels of equipment. And R99, I'm in S grade, which is really no good. I'd have to continue on to get some of the stuff that I had before, but there's all these various things that you can do. You can craft shots and soul shots and other items in the game. The crafting system is it was really good for an old school game. I don't believe it's come a long way compared to other games, and to me it's almost gone because they're getting rid of a lot of the materials in the game, and by the end of the year the crafting system will probably be completely revamped. And the fact of the matter is that only the high level dwarfs in the game that are level 110 and above will probably be doing any crafting, because they're the ones that have obtained the R110 items. So it's really limited to tier maestros. Now you can craft a lot of the other basic stuff, but it's really kind of cheaper to buy it, than trying to go through and get all the materials to. If anybody has done this, or you're watching this and you have a better idea of what this is than it is now, but I don't think there's many people crafting in the game anymore. It's kind of dead for the last couple of years because they changed the crafting classes. I think they're trying to get back to it, but there's also anybody can use any one of these head blacksmiths for upgrading equipment. So when you go to upgrade equipment, there's different various things that you can change, and you can add and imbue on your weapons and things like that. So it's not really just limited to it's pretty much anybody can do it when you're using the blacksmiths, but the crafting the high level armor and weapons is dedicated only to the tier maestro. It's kind of a dead thing. I don't know that there's many people building sets from scratch anymore. There could be, but I highly doubt it. So crafting is kind of poo-pooed in this game. It's not very good. So, as we talk about all the other things, we talked about character creation, we talked about combat, we talked about storyline and lore, we talked about the world, dungeons and instances, and we talked about crafting. I think it's time for the actual assessment. As you could tell, a lot of that didn't go all that well. So my assessment is this. Given that this game is primarily a pay-to-win game, It's going to be difficult for new players to get into because of a few reasons. One, it is pay to win. You have to spend money to catch up and to be able to enjoy the game. Now, if you're not willing to put money into the game, this game is definitely not going to be for you. Reason being is you can pretty much get to 99, 100. You may even be able to push to level 105, and you're pretty much going to have a hard stop. Without putting more money into the game and getting some items to help yourself progress, you're not going to get very far. Now, I will say this. If you want to get into the game for free, you can. And you can take a look, see what it's all about, and you can get a really good idea of whether or not this is something you want to invest time and money into. It does give you the opportunity to do that. I will guarantee that if you start the game fresh as a new player and never played the game before and you dive in, you're either going to like it or you're going to hate it, and you'll know right away whether or not you want to put any money into it. With that being said, somebody that wants to put money into a game that's 16 years old, you kind of almost have to be a former Lineage 2 player to enjoy it. A lot of us have played this game on and off or for a very long time since its release back in 2004. It's been around that long, 16 years. So for a lot of us, it's a nostalgia factor, and we just continue to play because we enjoy it, and we haven't found many things that are like it. So the nostalgia hits us really hard, and it's tough for us to walk away. We always seem to come back to the game, and we always seem to want to continue to progress and continue getting further in the game. It takes a lot to get equipment just like I have, and I don't even have the best equipment. I've got like mid-grade gear, but it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of gear. Lots of farming, lots of spending money in the L2 store to sell your items out on the market to gain money. It's not going to be for everyone. However, if you're an old school RPG player and you played Lineage 2 on and off throughout the years, it might be worth coming back for you. If you're not worried about spending money and putting money into the L2 store, you might be okay. This might be for you, and you might want to take a look. But I think that's going to be a real big downturn for a lot of people, where you can play it for free for so long and you're going to hit a wall, and it's just not, you're not going to progress, and you're going to get frustrated and you won't want to play anymore. That's the fact. So overall, my assessment is it's a good game if, oh crap, my mouse died right in the middle of recording. Oh my goodness. Let's see if we can change it out real quick. So it's a good game if you enjoy it and you've been around the game before and you don't mind putting money into it. It's probably not going to be for new players. However, I know that a lot of you come to my channel, you see what I do, and you see that I'm playing, you see that I'm enjoying myself, so you guys decide you want to join too. So for new players, it might be worth it. If you really want to come in and play, you can. And you can play it for free for a pretty long time. And it's not too bad. And even for a small investment a month, you can still help yourself progress, and it's not too bad. NCSoft does a great job of hosting a whole lot of events for you to give you a lot of opportunities to put your money into their market. That's for sure. So some of the events are really cool. Some of them are straight up, we're here to pay to win, and that's it. So a lot of times that's what happens. They get a new, event like this, Agathion Charm, all Zodiac, Agathion stuff. This is all, this is how they make their money now. They pay to win. So overall, would I play this game? Yes. Would you like to play this game? It's kind of really up to you. I'm guessing that if you're an old school player and you want to come back to the game and you're sick of private servers, it's probably going to be worth your time. If you like private servers, but you're like, I don't know if I want to go back to retail, you should give it a try. You might like it. You might not. A lot of people are on the fence. I really like the newest, latest versions. Some people hate them, and they will only play on private servers. Unfortunately, I've had too many bad instances with private servers that I will never play on another one. So I'm done with private servers. I won't play in another one. I will only play an officially released NCSoft server or something that they partner with, like Innova, and that's it. I won't play on any of the other servers. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope this assessment helped you decide whether or not you want to come back to the game. If you look at my full assessment across the board, it's kind of negative across the board. The character creation is kind of meh. The combat, unless you played this back in the day, if you're coming in and you've played BDO and you played some of these other new, Black Desert Online types or Guild Wars 2 that have this action-based combat, this might not be for you and you might hate this. So this is kind of for old school players. The storyline and lore is kind of meh. The world is huge, but it seems to kind of be streamlined into a couple places. Not a really good remark. The dungeons and instances are kind of cool. Crafting has kind of been nerfed, so it's kind of useless almost at this point. There are some people that are doing it and being very beneficial, but they've spent a lot of time dedicated to those characters and only those characters, so that's their thing. It's kind of got a lot of thumbs down. So overall, the assessment to play this game in 2020 is probably a resounding no for all of you. However, it's a big caveat. If you're like me and you're drawn to Lineage 2 and you always have been, and you don't mind maybe investing some into the L2 market, this might be something you want to try. I'll leave it up to you guys. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it shed some light on some of the things that maybe you didn't know or maybe you did know. I know overall there's not a lot to this game anymore. There's PvP, there's Siege, there's Olympiad, and there's auto hunting. That's about it. So if you're not involved with any of that stuff, this game's probably not for you. However, if you might want to do that, it could be. As always, please like and share on your favorite social media, and I will catch you guys in an upcoming episode. Thanks for watching.